With over 66.6 million visitors in 2019, New York City is America's most attractive tourist destination. You've got the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, the Empire State Building, and one lesser-known attraction with a funny story behind it. A story that starts in 1950s Italy. Arturo di Modica, a Sicilian-born sculptor, left his hometown in his late teens after his father rejected his dream of becoming a sculptor. He escaped to Florence on a steam train in the hopes of pursuing that dream, although he was so poor after moving that he didn't even have enough money to buy the tools to make his statues. But what he lacked in money, he made up for in enthusiasm. Rather than giving up, Di Modica decided to make his own tools and got to work. He did well for himself for a while, but began to realize that Florence just wasn't enough for him. He had a dream, so like many artists before him, he decided to travel to New York. By 1977, Di Modica had made his move and had opened a workshop in Soho, where he held his first show. Unfortunately, not a single critic showed up, but Di Modica refused to take this lying down. There's no way he came all this way only for no one to appreciate his statues. He needed to do something, so he did what any other sensible person would do in his situation. He rented 3 trucks and in the dead of night, placed 8 of his biggest statues right in the middle of Rockefeller Center. As you might expect, the security guards didn't take this too well, and he was taken straight to the police office. He had to pay a small fine, but it was well worth it, because after that stunt, he sold all of his works. Through similar feats, Di Modica started to build a name for himself. But by 1987, New York was in chaos on that infamous Black Monday when the stock market crashed. He couldn't just stand back and watch the suffering. He felt he had to give back to his city. As he said himself, "I'm from Sicily, but when you live more than 40 years in New York, you can't help but feel that it's your city too." So, 2 years and $325,000 of his personal money later, Di Modica had crafted the charging bull to symbolize the strength and determination of the American people. He planned to put it right in front of Wall Street. He had the statue, he had the location. The one thing he didn't have was permission, though that's never stopped him before. Di Modica carefully planned the charging bull's drop-off. 5 minutes, he stressed. The whole operation has to be no longer than 5 minutes. It had to be quick, because after a few site inspections, he had discovered that the police patrolled the area every 7 to 8 minutes. To help him carry out his plan, he put together an army of 40 men, which may sound like a lot, but not so much when you consider that the metal statue weighs in about 3.5 tons. So at 1 a.m., armed with a truck and a crane, Di Modica and his men had reached the stock exchange. Just one problem. It was the 15th of December and there was a huge Christmas tree on the spot he'd chosen. But again, Di Modica was undeterred. "Drop the bull under the tree," he told his men. "It's my gift." And with that, the rest of the operation went smoothly. They even had time to share a toast with some champagne. But not everyone saw the statue as something to be celebrated, especially not the stock exchange officials, who found the giant brass bull, an animal that also symbolizes the stock market rising, to be an act of provocation, a practical joke. So that same afternoon, they had the statue removed and stored at a police warehouse. Di Modica had to pay another fine of $500 for the removal, and that was it. 2 years and $350,000 wasted on nothing, he thought. But that wasn't the end of it. The few hours that the bull had spent in front of Wall Street were enough to conquer the hearts of the people of New York. They organized a petition to save the bull, and the next night, Di Modica finally received actual formal permission to place the statue at Bowling Green. In his last years, Di Modica returned to his hometown in Sicily to make one last statue as a final gift to his birthplace. It would have been his final masterpiece, but his health began to deteriorate, and on the 19th of February 2021, Di Modica passed away just after turning 80 years old. But his art lives on and carries his legacy forward, an example of how far persistence, passion, and determination can get you. After all, his famous charging bull still stands in front of Wall Street today, relentlessly charging, just like its creator always did.